Welcome to the Successfully Simple Show, the overwhelmed freelancer's guide to making more while doing less. I'm your host, Erin Flynn, and I've been running my own freelance business since 2012, making every mistake along the way so that you don't have to. On this podcast, we'll be diving into ways that you can simplify your business, establish clear boundaries with your clients, and minimize your work hours while maximizing your profit and your life. Let's dive in. Hey there, Erin here, and I'm really excited that you're joining me on the Successfully Simple Show. In today's episode 0, I'm going to give you a quick overview of my story and tell you why I'm launching this podcast. Now, here's the thing. I actually never planned on starting my own business. I kind of stumbled into it. So I've actually been making websites for myself, and I've had a few freelance gigs over the time since 1999. I started making websites at 13, and in my teens and early 20s, I picked up a few web design projects here and there. But I didn't ever plan to start my own web design business. So I worked for other people. And in 2011, I found myself in a horrible job, like really, really horrible. I'm talking about when I hit 3 months at this job, I was told that I had made it the longest in my position without crying at work. Like that was some kind of achievement, or it was funny, and it wasn't telling of the problems within the company. Now, to be fair, I did go home and cry just about every day. I just didn't cry in the office. Now, I told myself that I would stick it out until I could find a better job. But literally, the day after my 1-year mark, the day after I finally was able to join their crappy healthcare plan and get 3 days of paid leave, which I could use for vacation or for being sick, I was yelled at in the middle of the office by the vice president of the company for not doing something that was not my job and that he'd actually told me the day before that he was going to do himself. I finally cried at work because who wants to start their workday? This was at like 7:50 in the morning. I was there. It wasn't even work hours yet. I was just setting up my desk, and he comes over and yells at me. So I finally cried, and the next day I put in my notice. Now, I floated around for a few months. I picked up some random gigs on Craigslist doing things like drawing on Tom's shoes and helping photographers lug equipment around. Nothing that was going to be a career. Then one day, a friend that I had made at that horrible job, she also quit when I did, along with 2 other people. I'm not exaggerating with how bad this job was. She called and she asked if I could make and manage a website for her new employer. I said yes, and I launched my web design business, thinking that it was the key to my freedom. Unfortunately, my freelance business was just as stressful as that horrible job, and it paid me even less. I struggled through my first few years, and I was barely making an income. I was working long hours, I was constantly stressed, and I was still barely making enough to cover bills. Fortunately, my then boyfriend, he's now my husband, was covering most of everything so that I could pursue this dream of running my freelance business. To give you an example of just how tied to my business I was even checking emails at my wedding because I felt like I had to be available 24/7 to my clients. Now, is this sounding familiar? I really hope it's not, but I bet it probably is because so many of us fall into the trap of trying to do all the things. I know that I definitely did. I was working with multiple clients at a time. I was blogging at least weekly. I was posting on all the social media platforms. I was offering any service my clients requested. I was taking tons of courses, and I was wondering why, if I was putting in all of this time, was I making so little? And the whole time I was seeing others who seemed to effortlessly build their businesses while I was stuck on the struggle bus, feeling like the biggest failure that ever existed. I drank many bottles of extremely cheap wine, and I shed many tears. I just wasn't getting it until finally it all clicked. I was able to implement a strategy that made 2015 both my least worked year and most profitable up until that point, and my income has gone up every single year since. Now, in 2015, I actually only worked about 6 months and I made nearly double what I had in previous years. I was able to spend a lot of time renovating a house that we had just bought. I traveled to the Amazon rainforest, the Galapagos Island, the Dominican Republic, and I was attending different friends' weddings in different locations. I had figured out how to simplify my business so that I worked less and made more, and how to attract the kind of clients that I actually wanted to work with. And things just got better from there. So today I get to live in beautiful Aspen, Colorado, which I am so fortunate to be able to do. I work with clients that I love and I make websites I am proud to show off. And I do that working only about 20 hours a week and making more than enough money to live the kind of life that I want. And I am not telling you this to brag. I'm telling you this because you can totally do it too. The secret is actually pretty simple. You have to structure your business to support the life that you want and cut out anything that detracts from it. And I know that that's easier said than done, but if you don't know where to start, you can struggle for years like I did. And I don't want anyone else to have to do that. So that's why I now teach other freelancers how to design or redesign their businesses the right way. Life is way too short to spend glued to your computer screen hustling your butt off. Let me help you structure or restructure your business, work less, make more money, and get off your computer and into your life. Stay tuned to the Successfully Simple show for free tips and advice. And if you're ready to supercharge your freelance business, you can see my offerings at erinflynn.com. Skip the struggle and become unstoppable. Thanks so much for tuning in. Any links mentioned in this episode will be included in the show notes. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, please do me a favor and subscribe on whatever platform you like to listen to podcasts on. And if you really enjoyed the show, please leave me a review because it helps me out a ton. Thank you so much. Now go take action.